Everybody, welcome to Art Conspiracy. I'm Amy. I'm in my upstairs studio today, a little change of venue. I hope it's not too noisy. It's an outdoor studio. It's screened all the way around, but it is open to the air, and I have a lot of scooters that go by on my soy, which is the word for like a little small alley. Anyway, I wanted to share with you what I've been thinking about, which is charcoal drawing, because I'm teaching a black and white class and we're using charcoal, and I'm pretty excited. I used to use charcoal all the time, and I sort of got out of the habit, and I've been doing it lately for my class, and wow, man, charcoal is awesome. If you Google charcoal drawings, you will see a lot of very delicate, detailed drawings, mostly. And you can do that with charcoal. You can get fine, beautiful detail. And charcoal has been around since the Stone Age, as far as I'm concerned, you know. It's probably the oldest art supply, and the great masters used it. And anyway, it does not need to be used for fine detail. In fact, the way that I teach it is sort of an alternative, the anti-pencil. I have my students use not a charcoal pencil, not even vine charcoal, which is like a skinny stick, but they use a block like this, block of soft black charcoal, or even black pastel. Kind of works the same way. Anyway, I did a drawing today, and I'll show you. I'm going to show you the drawing, and I'm going to show you the scene. But I did a drawing out in the world, and I did it in pencil. And it took about, I don't know, 45 minutes, maybe. And I'm going to do it in charcoal, and it's going to be a heck of a lot faster because you can make big areas of dark, especially, or light if you erase out. Anyway, I'm going to show you my technique. So buckle up. It's going to be great. Let me just show you the drawing first. I think that's the most important thing. Here we go. So here's the drawing. This was a picture of a gate. I mean, this was a gate into one of the temple buildings where I was. And, you know, I started out, I was thinking I was going to paint it, but I never got around to painting it. I got so caught up in drawing and the light and dark, the light and shadow, which I thought was really very beautiful. So I'm going to try to do this in charcoal. And I'm going to show you basically my charcoal technique, and also just compare charcoal with drawing with pencil, and what it is capable of doing, especially the way that I use it as a really robust tool. Now, I did take a photograph of the scene, but I'm going to work from the drawing, because if I go back to the photograph, which I didn't use to begin with, I drew on location, but I will be more apt to look at detail that I don't want to get into. And trust me, with charcoal, you don't want to get into it. I usually start with a charcoal, like a big block like this, and I break it in half to show who's boss. Plus, the big one is just too big for the way that I use it. So anyway, you have a technique like this. So the first thing I do is line. And I'm just gonna block in, think where really is noisy. Where are things? Blocking out my light. I'm not being very careful because a lot of this is gonna go away. You'll see. So here's my dark, and that. There's my gate. This is all the light coming in. Maybe here, the flatness over here. Got something up here. So that's a pretty good map. You know, it's just basically giving me big swatches of information. Okay, now what I'm going to do is put in my darks, and I'm going to do it with some abandon. I'm going to lay these in. Oh my gosh. Okay. Here, probably going to have to erase some of that out. Let's see. What? Leaving my lights. Look at that. Look how fast that happened. Okay, and then here is my light down here. That's pretty important. And depending on the paper, if you can erase back to light, you don't even have to leave the light, but this is the fun part. Okay, I'm going to smear this. Now you can use a tissue. You can use your hand. A tissue is going to pick some up. Your hand sort of rubs it in a little bit more. But you got options, and I'm not being careful. Again, I'm not trying to stay in the lines because I'm going to erase out the lights again. But I'm keeping the main lights protected a little bit. Okay, so all right, now that I've done that, I'm going to get my eraser. And like to say I have a big light across here, right? I'm going to erase out that light. Look how fast that is. Oh my God, it's so much fun. So I'm coming back in and I'm recreating my form because I lost some of it when I smeared, but I'm blocking it back in. And it can be rough, you know, like here's an area that actually needs to be dark. Just notice that. Where'd my charcoal go? Here, crossing the path. Put that in as a shadow. The thing about charcoal is you're able to sort of put some in, take some out, put some in, take some out. Here I am back in the middle. I have a light area here. I have a small light. Some plants, and then I have this little area here. It's this part right here. Just pulling that out. I can straighten out this line. Look at that. And I'm making an edge. I made a pretty hard edge with my eraser. I can soften that if I want to. Soften it, bring it down. And now I can sort of eat around my shadows. These are kind of shadows of plants down here. And you see what I just did with my eraser? And I have a little extra shadow that might indicate the floor. And I'm going to go take this pole up, or it's a post. So even this, there's some subtlety that I'm able to get because I smudged. And so I have some light and dark. Okay, so I'm doing good. Just say I'm just suggesting this up here. Okay, and then, so here I want to get a little bit darker now along this edge. I'm going to push harder on one side. And then I'm going to smoke it out. So it's not a line anymore. It's a beautiful black edge. Look at that. Awesome. I keep adding in. Maybe I have some of this just a little bit of architecture, kind of. Not too important, but I'm just going to suggest. Let's say I don't like that. That's the wrong angle. It's too straight. No problem. Make it more of an angle. See that? I changed my mind. Also have a chamois or a chamois that I can pull out and create a little variation up here in the ceiling or anywhere I want to. Let's say I want to make this a little bit lighter around. I have like a little picture hanging on the wall. Don't breathe in your charcoal. That's pretty subtle. I can use my eraser. There we go. Oh, look at that. So pretty. Let me come down here a little bit, a little tighter. So you can see just I'm drawing with the eraser basically, and I'm able to make soft edges. I reintroduce the dark and I pull out the light. so much fun. And I did this pretty doggone fast. I don't know. I mean, I'm not done, but you can see where I'm going with this. And then you have some little tips. Some are sharper than others. If you want to do some of this fine stuff, you know, like I'm not going to get as detailed as this, and I don't want to. The truth is, but if you did want to, you could just take your time. You could get a charcoal pencil. You could totally do it. But look at this. I put it in and I smudged it up, and then I erase it back out. And every time I smudge it up and erase it back out, I have another opportunity to be creative with my line and what's going on. Like here's some plants in the light. You see that? So I may say, okay, I'm just using the edge of my eraser and I'm just indicating some plants. If I need it to be darker next to it, now I got that light, I'm going to put dark next to it. I'm going to smudge it. Take it away, reintroduce it. Now I'm using the very edge here to make it spiky. Maybe there's some plants over here. I think there's a pot down here, which is kind of, and I'm pushing this edge a little bit. I really don't want to get too fussy here. I want to work fast. You can totally see where I'm going. Especially like this part. Okay, let's do this part. This is actually a sign hanging here, and I kind of lost it. So here's my edge. I'm going to reintroduce that dark. That's that sign. I'm going to smudge it. Smudgy, smudgy. And now I'm going to find it again. By erasing next to it. And that's a different kind of edge, erasing next to it, than I would if I just tried to draw it perfectly. And I can also, see what else, make this line, this form, look at that. Oh yeah, it's happening. Okay, this is still pretty crude. That light, oh, look at that. I want to really make that light beautiful diagonal. And as it hits the floor, right here, it changes direction a little bit. So I need to sort of reintroduce where the floor is. It's right there. Just want that sense of light. Maybe there's a little bit of edge. Look at that. That's, you can make a line with just the edge of your charcoal. You did it right there. And you can do it elsewhere. If you want to start adding some definition of things here and there. I'm gonna go darker next to the pole and feather it out. Make it soft to go away from that edge. Very dramatic. And look, I'm actually picking up some of this with my finger and putting it somewhere else. Here we go. So I can keep going, but I think that's a pretty good demo. And also, I really think that I made this more interesting than the actual scene itself, which is saying something. Now, I was planning to show you the scene. I still can. I was like afraid to touch my computer because my hands are so dirty. Got to have baby wipes handy if you're going to do charcoal. So before you touch your nose or anything else. All right, so let me show you this is actually the gate. Look at that. I really simplified it, as you saw. And I can keep going. I mean, on top of this, very loose and generous drawing, I can get very detailed, but who wants to? I don't want to. Okay, I think that's it for now. I'll do another one with charcoal. I'm so excited about working with charcoal again. It is so much fun, even though it is down dirty. So ask me questions in the comment section if you want, and I'll see you soon. Stay safe out there. Bye. Artconspiracy.net. See you later.